Hello, I'm Beth Williams. I'm a personal trainer and a yoga teacher, and today's class is a Warrior Fit strength training class for yogis. So we'll be combining some strength training with weights, using some bands for outer hip strength today, and we'll also be using a couple of blocks, so make sure you have a couple of blocks handy. And if you have a bolster, grab a bolster. If not, you can use a block instead. Also have a blanket for padding the knees, so if your knees tend to feel sensitive when you're on the mat doing like cat-cow, kneeling type things, then grab a blanket. Also have water and a towel to wipe off any sweat today. So we'll be doing chest presses, we'll be doing rows, we'll be doing overhead presses, tricep extensions, and what am I missing? Bicep curls. So that's what you'll need the weights for. So I have 5s, 8s, 10s, and 15s. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. We'll be on our knees. So you can pad your knees if you'd like. I'm going to face you, but you can certainly face the top end of your mat. So standing up onto the knees here, and the toes can point back. If you need more stability, you can curl your toes under. And then just feeling that the glutes are engaged so that your shoulders are over your hips are over your knees. And we're just going to start with some simple shoulder warm-ups by circling the shoulders. My fingertips are at the heads of the arm bones, and I'm just making moderate sized circles with the elbows in the air. So I'm not trying to go into my biggest range of motion, but rather finding more of a mid-range. And then let's take those circles in the opposite direction. So I've been gardening a lot, and I can feel different muscles in my body talking to me than what I usually feel, kind of the sore muscles that are usually around after a workout. Well, gardening uses a lot of different muscles for different people depending upon what position you tend to use. And I tend to squat whenever I'm gardening, or sometimes I'll be in a kneeling position, but not everybody can do that. So I'm really feeling inner thighs today, and I wanted to emphasize some work with the low back to start, just in case you're also feeling a little bit of stiffness from gardening. And then we'll do some emphasis on core at the end, and hopefully get your body feeling pretty good and strong after this, so you can continue to be in your garden if that's your shtick. All right, so let's go ahead and go into a tabletop position to warm up the low back. We're going to do 10 rounds of cat and cow, so knees underneath the hips and the hands a little forward of the shoulders on the floor there. And so as you inhale, go ahead and lift your tailbone and lift your chest and lift your chin. And as you exhale, push the floor away from you with your hands to round your back. And tucking the pelvis here, bringing the chin in towards the chest. And then again, inhaling, lifting tail, chest, chin. Exhale to round the spine. And each time that you exhale to round the spine, kind of pushing the floor away from you and feeling the carving in of the abdominal wall. And if you exhale out of your mouth, you'll likely feel more of that abdominal engagement. So give that a try as you continue here, exhaling, blowing out of the mouth. Let all of the air empty. 3 more rounds together. And last time here. And then curl your toes under, send your hips back. Keep your arms pretty active here so the elbows are lifted. See if you can feel that the pinky toes are just as evenly rooted to the floor as your big toes. Good, and then inhale, come forward. Bring your elbows underneath your shoulders so that you're on your forearms. Interlace your fingers. And point your toes back here. And so we'll do a little bit more lower back warm up. So as you inhale, you're going to lift your tailbone and put an arch in your back. And then as you exhale, round your back. Starting from the tailbone, rounding the sacrum, the low back, mid back, upper back. And then continue here for several rounds. Inhale, arching the back. And exhaling to round. Just moving at a pace that feels good for you. So this isolates the low back more than the upper back compared to the traditional cat-cow where your hands are under your shoulders. So this is some good garden therapy here. Counter pose to gardening. Let's do one more of those. Excellent. Come back into tabletop and we'll find our downward facing dog. So curling the toes under, lifting the knees and the hips, pressing through your strong hands and arms, getting that little bit of a tilt in your pelvis like you did in cow pose where you arch your low back, yet also feeling the firmness and the strength of your abdominal wall just like you do in a cat pose. Good. Go ahead and exhale out this breath, and on your inhale, go ahead and walk your feet forward to the top of your mat. Come into a halfway lift as you inhale. And forward fold as you exhale. I'm going to do that twice more. Inhale to your halfway lift. Exhale to fold. And last time, halfway lift on the inhale. And a forward fold on the exhale. Good. Bring your hands to your hips. Rise all the way up on the inhale. As you exhale, you can release your hands down next to your sides, standing up nice and tall in your mountain pose. I'm just going to clear the blanket out of the way. So next up, we're going to be warming up the legs a little bit more. And I'm going to have you grab hold of your opposite elbow and go ahead and sit your butt back into a squat. Take your forearms to your upper thighs like this so that you're kind of sitting in a chair pose, if you will. Feet are a little bit wider than chair. Toes are turned out. And so from here, we're going to inhale and sit our hips back, bending the knees, and then on the exhale, go ahead and straighten the legs and let your head lengthen and decompress. Inhale, bend the knees as much as you comfortably can, lifting up through the spine, through the crown of the head. And exhale, forward fold as you straighten your legs. Let's do that several more times. Inhaling, sitting the hips back, lengthening the spine. And exhaling. Exhaling, straightening the legs. Inhale, hips back. It's kind of a modified squat. And exhale, straighten the legs. Good, inhale, hips back. And exhale, straighten the legs. Good, 5 more at your own pace. A good dynamic warm up for the legs and the hips. I've got my best Janis Joplin voice going on today. My allergies have been just super on point, so even with all these allergy meds I'm taking, I'm still sounding a little raspy, like I've been drinking Southern Comfort. Good, go ahead and inhale, rise up, reach your arms up. And exhale, take your hands together at your heart center in Anjali Mudra. So now that the legs are warmed up, we're going to shift over into some deadlifts. So go ahead and grab your weight for your suitcase deadlifts. 15s here. And the feet about hip distance apart. You got these weights next to the hips. Nice long tall torso here. And we'll go ahead and begin really grounded through the feet. Inhale, send those hips back. Slide those weights down to the tops of the shins. Exhale, drive through your feet. Use your glutes to stand up nice and tall. Inhale, hinge from the hips, neutral spine. Exhale, stand. Inhale, hinge. Keep your shoulders engaged, your shoulders retracted. Exhale, stand. Inhale, hinge. Drive through the feet. Exhale, stand. Inhale, hinge. Exhale, stand. When you hinge, you're looking down at the floor. When you stand, you're looking forward, horizon level. Inhale, hinge. Exhale, stand. Hinge. And stand. Keep that breath going. Exhale, stand. And hinge, shoulders are strong. And stand. Last 5. Hinge. And stand. 3 more. Last 2. Finishing up here. Go ahead, take a breath in. Good, exhale, hinge. Set your weights down just right out in front of your toes. Turn the weights outwards so that your palms are facing each other. And then step back into a modified dog, holding on to the weights. Keep the heads of the arm bones lifted. Keep the sit bones lifted. We're going to take a count of about 5 to 8 seconds to lift the heels, bend the knees, lower the knees to the floor. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, I think we can go longer. 1, 1, 1, and lower. Okay, good. I'm just going to slide my blanket underneath the knees and go ahead and set up for a tabletop row. So on this variation, we'll keep both knees down and the hands are underneath the shoulders. Neutral spine. Find a spot to look out, just right out in front of your weights on your mat. Right out in front of your hands. Here we go. So we're going to do about 10 to 12 repetitions on each side. Exhale, bend your right elbow. Elbow comes up towards the sky, shoulder blade squeezes towards the spine. Inhale, set that weight down. Exhale, lift the left. Squeeze that shoulder blade towards the spine. Inhale, lower. Exhale, opposite side. Inhale, lower. So moving with control. Try not to make any noise as you set those weights down. So that's 3. Just lightly setting them down so you are the one in control, not the weights. Excellent, this is 5. Minimal movement from the torso. There'll be some. Give me 2 more on each side. I got a little loud there with my weight. Could you hear it? Can you hear yours? That was my elbow popping. Okay, so we did about 12 on each side. Let's go ahead and come up into like a semi-dog with your hands on the weights and bend your knees and maybe walk or hop your feet forward. Get a little bit hoppy today. Move your blanket out of the way. Parallel your feet. And go ahead and inhale, rise up. Reach the arms up. And exhale, bring your hands together at your heart center. All right, so we're gonna work the legs a bit more. So I'm gonna have my block close by. I've got that on the second height setting on my mat. I'll go ahead and face you guys. So let me show you what you're going to do, and if it doesn't work for your knees, then you'll go back to the previous leg warm-up that we did, that modified squat. So it looks like this, and first one's going to be kind of a test to see where my feet need to be in relationship to the block. So I've got my squat stance here, and I'm just going to sit my hips back. Hey, I've done this before. I knew where the block was going to be, but maybe you don't know where the block's going to be, and you might have to move it forward. So hips on the block, got my knees in line with my middle toe. I'm sitting into a squat, but here's the work. The work is to ground through the feet, come back up to standing, and then inhale, sit your hips back, rinse and repeat. And if that doesn't work for you, go back to this variation where you squat and straighten your legs. All right, so 10 all together. Here we go. You're gonna sit the hips down as I inhale, and arms can come out as I rise up, exhale. Inhale, your variation of squat, exhale to stand. Super functional movement to be able to squat, but we aren't all able to do it for, whatever reason. Maybe you've had knee replacement, or maybe you've had hip surgery. I like to go really slow on the very bottom of that movement, so I'm not just plopping down. I don't want to knock the block over. So 4 more. 3. 2 more. Last one. All right, good. So we can set that block off to the side. That got my heart rate going. So next up, let's do some calf raises with an overhead press. I'm gonna use my 2 5s. If you wanna use your 2 8s, go for it. So grab those babies feet are about hip distance apart, toes pointing forward, and try to keep all 10 of your toes onto the floor. We're going to set ourselves up for our overhead press. So the wrists are over the elbows are in front of the shoulders, and elbows are just a little bit below the tops of the shoulders. Try to keep your forearms vertical here. Ready? So take a breath in first, and then as you exhale, lift your arms, lift your heels, and slowly lower back down as you inhale. Back to that starting position as best you can. Inhale to lower, exhale to reach up and to lift the heels. Nice and slow and controlled. I know it's a lot to track and to keep up with. Just do the best you can here. That's why I chose a lighter weight, so I could really hone in my focus, keep my shoulders safe. You know, as we get older, we really don't need to press super heavy weight overhead. And I'm already feeling this pretty good in my shoulders at 12 repetitions. So we'll see if we can go for 3 more. If your shoulders are tired, that's okay. Just go ahead and keep your arms straight to do the last 1 or 2. Arms next to the sides. I can feel all the shoveling and the raking that I did in my shoulders. I can feel that today. I'm just going to set those guys aside. All right, so next thing that we're going to work on is a split squat. And those of you that have been following my videos, I think I've told you before that I'm not a huge fan of them myself. Like, not because I don't think they're great. I think they're a great movement, but it's just because my left knee doesn't like it. It likes to crunch a lot. So one of the ways that we can make this more accessible is by having something to lower the knee down onto. And for me, the floor is too far away. So getting a bolster or maybe a block or 2 stacked up, something like that you can put underneath your knees. So I'm going to use this bolster, and then I'm also going to grab my 8-pound weights for bicep curls, and you're totally welcome to do bicep curls with me here. Okay, so I'm going to step in front of the bolster, and then I'm going to step the left foot back. So kind of leaping back over it. So right foot pretty steady, pointing forward, left heel pointing up, and as best you can, try to have an upright vertical torso. All right, so eyes are forward, and I'm just going to go ahead and turn the palms to face forward as well. And just go ahead and lower that left knee down to the cushion as you curl, bicep curl. And then straighten your legs, straighten your arms here. So we'll go ahead and inhale to bend the knees, lowering that left knee down, curling here, and exhaling to stand. Okay. Inhale, bending that left knee, exhale to stand. Nice and slow and controlled. Five more. So it's okay if you just go ahead and rest onto it if you need to, or if you just need to give a little bit of contact of the knee to the pad underneath you. Last 2. going to step the left foot forward and just give myself a little break. So really feel that in the right hamstrings and glutes. So that was the main focus. All right, other side. Right foot steps back. And eyes are forward. Turn the palms forward. Here we go. Inhale, lower the right knee, curl. Exhale, straighten the legs, straighten the arms. Inhale, lower. Exhale, rise. Follow your breath. Five more, guys. Last one. Step that right foot forward. Go ahead and forward fold. Set your eights down and rise back up. Go ahead and move your bolster out of the way. So let me know how that went for you. I'll be interested to hear. Just take a little break, sip of water, towel off. Okay, so next up, let's work on the backs of the upper arms, the triceps. So we're gonna grab our 8-pounders or maybe 5-pound weights. Let's have the right foot forward and the left foot back. Coming into a lunge, the right knee bent. Hinge forward from your right hip. Good. And elbows in towards the sides. Exhale, straighten the arms. Keep the elbows in towards the sides as you inhale, bend the elbows. Exhale, straighten. As an added bonus, keep your shoulder blades retracting towards the spine. Five more on this side. Last one. Good. Straighten your torso, step your left foot forward. So you feel the right side was working to support you as you were working your triceps. And now step the right foot back. Bend the left knee. Hinge forward from your left hip. Elbows in towards the sides. Exhale as you straighten your arms. Inhale as you bend them. Last one here. Good, straighten up your torso, step your right foot forward. Forward fold, set your weights down. Grab hold of your 15s. Separate your feet about hip distance apart. And standing up like a floor deadlift there, from floor deadlift. Here we go. Deadlifts, both feet on the floor. Inhale, hinge from your hips. Exhale, drive through your feet to rise up. Inhale, hinge. Get your butt back. As you hinge, hips go back. And keep your weight a little more through your heels compared to your toes and ball mounds. That's 10. We got 5 more. Last one, guys. Beautiful. Inhale at the top here. Exhale, forward fold. Set your weights down, step back into your downward dog with hands on the weights. Let's do a 10-second count to lower the knees. Ready? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, nice and slow, 3, 2, hover, 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 1, and land. Slide a blanket under your knees. We're going to use one of those weights. All right. So I'm just going to move the weight that's over to the left off of the mat. All right. So some of you might want to do a plank version with both knees lifted. I am not feeling that ambitious today. So, but I also think that I could do a little more than just tabletop. So I'm going to take my left foot back, have my left toes tucked under my left knee lifted, and neutral spine. So I'm just setting up here. Okay, eyes are just looking right out in front of your left fingertips in the center of the mat. Ready? Here we go. Exhale, lift that right side weight. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. So definitely feel more core with this variation. Concentrate on working your back as you pull that weight up. Shoulder blade moves towards the spine. Let's do 2 more, guys. Lower down, lower your left knee down or both knees down if they were lifted. Sit back. Just give yourself a moment before you do the other side. Probably wore the wrong kind of a shirt here. You know, it matched, and so I thought, well, why not? But now, you know, I realize why I wear tank tops when I work out. They get pretty sweaty, so. All right, other side, guys. So grab that weight with your left hand. Put your right hand down on the floor, a little forward over the shoulder. Either both knees down, either right leg back, right toes tucked under, right leg lifted, right knee lifted, or both legs straight. Okay, you guys ready? Here we go, we're all set up. Exhale, lift that left side. Inhale, lower. Feel your back working. Give me 2 more. Nicely done. Roll that weight off of the mat there. Okay, a downward facing dog regular. Both hands on the floor. Lift those knees, lift those hips. Press with those strong hands and arms to get your hips up, your heels towards the floor. And then let's look forward at our hands and bend the knees, lift the heels, And give me a couple of hops, and then hop forward to the top of the mat. And when you get there, come to your halfway lift on your inhale. And forward fold on your exhale. Good, and then inhale, rise up, reach your arms up. And exhale, hands to the heart center and Anjali Mudra. Awesome. Okay. So just move your blanket off to the side. So we're going to be doing some squats. A little malfunction on the blanket folding there. Okay. 1 15-pound weight goblet squats. I love these. You probably have noticed. So we're going to take that weight to the chest here, holding onto the heads of the dumbbell with hands, thumbs are underneath. Squat stance. Ready? Inhale, sit those hips back. Kind of looking down as you do that. Not straight down, but forward of the toes. Exhale, rise up, straightening the legs, squeezing the glutes to rise. Inhale, hips back, squat. Exhale, rise. This is not the deep squat that I was demoing earlier where I was sitting on a block. We're not going that deep. Just because you can doesn't always mean you should. 8 more. Last 5. Oh heck, one more. I lost count. Good. So go ahead and set that down. I mean, who can count to 15, right? So I want you to have some clearance here for monster walks. So we're going to take the band, and I've got a heavy resistance looped band here. Probably should have told you that at the beginning of class, but here we are. So we're just going to place that around the ankles. Sometimes I'll have you place it around the thighs. It's actually harder around the ankles, I think. Okay, so I'm going to start over the right side of the mat and work my way over until I run out of room and then come back. And I've got my eyes on the clock. You can either have your legs straight or you can sit into a squat. Okay, let's go. So just walking laterally and trying to keep your toes pointing forward. So you're getting some side butt work going on. I can hear some of you going, yes, we are. Can you do it? Yes, you can. I'm always slower when I go to the right. My right side is definitely weaker. I can also step my left leg out further than my right. I know that about myself. Almost there. Coming back to the starting position. Ooh, 1 minute is hard. Goodness. Take a moment. Catch your breath. Whew. Take that band off. Okay, so I want to do a little bit of core work with you guys. It requires 2 blocks, so let's go ahead and come down. See if you can just come down into a seat from standing. Squat down and have a seat. And so let me show you first what we're going to do. I'm going to give you 2 variations of how to sit. So the first variation, if you can sit cross-legged, go ahead and sit cross-legged. Second variation, I'll have to show you a little bit more here. So to do that, I'm going to turn around so you can see. So second variation, you'll start off in kneeling. And I like to use my blocks to shift my weight forward a little bit and then just cross at the ankles. Okay, so it looks like that. All right, and so I'm just going to do a little lazy Susan turn around, use my blocks. Okay, so either cross-legged or in this kneeling ankle cross position. And so I have to use blocks here because I have a long torso and I have short arms. So I'm going to use the blocks so that my elbows can be straight and I can have my palms flat, either to the floor or block. So just find the height setting that gives you that. Okay, definitely don't use this very highest setting, that's very unstable. And so what you're going to do from there is just start to shift your weight forward a little bit, straighten your arms, push down into the floor, squeeze your inner thighs towards each other, and see if you can lift your feet, and then lower back down. Try not to lock your elbows, so keep a bend to your elbows, okay? So we're gonna do that about 3 or 4 more times. I'm sure you're probably thinking, yeah, right, sure, nothing's happening. But I can guarantee you, if you're pushing down to the floor, you're leaning forward and rounding your spine like you would in cat, and just trying to lift your legs and feet, your hips, you are still getting the engagement that's required for this move. Exhale, lift, or attempt to lift. Inhale, lower. Twice more. Good. Okay, so that kind of core strength is so important in a yoga practice so that you can move from that strong center so your arms and your legs don't get as tired. Okay, so take your legs out in front of you, and I'm going to turn to the side for this next one. Legs are out in front, and the toes are pulling in towards the shins. That activates the quadriceps. And you either are going to have your palms flat to the floor. I can't reach the floor as I stated earlier. Or you can use your blocks, guys. All right, so pushing down into your blocks or into the floor. Dig your heels down for now. And as you exhale, I want you to press down to lift your bum. And then inhale to lower. Exhale, lift your bum, push down through your hands, lift. Inhale, lower. Even if you just get a little 1 millimeter lift, that's good. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Couple more times. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Last time. Exhale, lift. And hold it a little bit longer. And then lower. Okay, good. So you might take them up to the higher setting. Shift your butt back in the blocks forward so that your chest comes forward. And then as your chest is forward, push down, lift your legs. See if you can lift your feet, your butt, and lower. Okay, done with that. I'm sure you're quite happy about that. Fantastic. Let's go into a boat pose. And then after boat pose, we're going to finish up with our chest presses for the day. Okay, so sitting here on the sit bones, kind of in between the front of the sit bones and the tailbone, so more towards the back of the sit bones. And there is going to be a little bit of rounding in your spine, so you're not going to be perfectly extended through the spine, so that you're engaging your abdominal wall. The eyes are forward. You can grab the backs of your thighs if you need a little additional support, or you can take your arms forward. I like to bend my knees and take them out like a bound angle. I'm just holding as long as you comfortably can. With your strength. Notice the difference if you're not rounded through your spine. If you're more in a neutral spine position, how different that is compared to if you allow yourself to be rounded. It's a little bit easier, I think. Okay, bring the feet together, the knees apart. Hold on to wherever you can reach closer to your ankles. Sitting up tall, but not overly tall. I'm just pausing here for a moment before we move on. All right, so your chest presses with your dumbbells, 10s or 15s, unless you know you need a lighter weight. So I'm going to use my 15s today. When you're ready, rock and roll onto your back. Feet to the floor, neutral spine, guys. Okay, so setting up, shoulders are rooted. Inhale, bend your elbows 90 degrees. Exhale, press up and in so the weights are above your chest. Inhale, 90-degree bend of the elbows. Exhale, straight arms. Hands will be about shoulder distance apart at the top of that movement, guys. Just keep following your breath. That's 10, 5 more. Last one. Goodness. Yeah, my right shoulder is pretty tired from shoveling and raking. So we are going to do a second set, and I'm going to go down to my 10s. So what I've been finding out from clients and whatnot is that weights are a really hot commodity. Like, who knew that weights would be a commodity, right? And one of my clients was looking for a kettlebell, a 50-pound kettlebell that we would use whenever we would train together. And she's trying to find one online. And they're like $140 for a 50-pound kettlebell. When they were typically between, about $1 a pound. So typically you could get one of those for 50 to 60 bucks. So yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Everybody's working out at home though, so that's good. Or they bought the weights to work out at home. Come on, do your back, second set. I'll stop talking. Let's get this last set done, guys. Inhale, bend your elbows 90 degrees. Exhale, press up and in. Stay with your breath. Give me 5 more. Count them. Nicely done, nicely executed. We made it through another warrior fit workout, and we're just gonna do a little bit of stretching before we call it good today. So I'll tell you what, my inner thighs are sore, like I mentioned. So I'm gonna sit up on a blanket and have you guys sit up on a blanket for another variation of a inner thigh stretch and a hamstring stretch. So you can start off with your legs out in front of you and outwards about 90 degrees. Good. And then we're going to bend the right knee and externally rotate the right thigh so that the foot comes in towards the left inner thigh here. Okay, so we're just going to add in a little twist. So we're twisting to the right, and we're going to walk the hands so that they are kind of framing this right knee and keeping the spine nice and long. So you might be able to feel on the left inner thigh from the groin, pelvis, not quite as far as the inner knee, although that might be something that you feel. It's mainly these wider, broader adductors that I'm feeling. If you're feeling it in your inner knee, I'll encourage you to kind of bend your knee a little bit and isometrically pull that left heel towards the direction of the left sit bone. And that actually feels pretty darn good to my low back to do that. Good, and then we're going to come back up here. I want you to keep the twist of your torso to the right. Take your left hand to the inside of the left leg, wherever it reaches, so that the left arm is straight. And then just reach the right arm up alongside the ear and lean over towards that right leg. I'm sorry, that left leg, not right, the left leg. So this isn't our deepest stretch. We're keeping it kind of at mid-range. I could totally go deeper, but I want to respect my body and not overstretch. So I still feel pretty strong here, as you can see. If I lifted my, if you lifted your left hand, I'm still using my core muscles to help me in the stretch. Okay, come back up to center. I think that's so important when we're practicing yoga, to really use our strength, our active range of motion, rather than pushing and cranking into poses. Okay, let's do the other side. So I'm going to extend the right leg, bend the left knee, and rotate the left thigh out. And I'm already feeling just a little bit of a stretch on that straight leg. So I'm going to turn my torso to the left, walk my hands to frame that left leg, that left knee. So, and we'll just do what we did the other side by digging that right heel down into the floor and isometrically dragging the heel back towards the direction of the sit bone. And that feels really good to use our strength to lengthen muscles. And then go ahead and come back up. We're still going to keep that rotation of the torso to the left. Bring the right hand to wherever it reaches on the inside of that right leg, and then reach the left arm up. And again, use your leg strength, your core strength to help you to laterally arch. I'm not going to hold my foot and pull myself into a deeper expression. when I used to do that in my yoga practice, and I always felt worse afterwards. I kind of felt good when I was in the pose, but later on throughout the day or even the next day, I felt pretty crummy, and my SI joints kept feeling like they were kind of swollen and inflamed, and not that they were technically out of place, but they weren't happy. Go ahead and come back up to upright. I'm just grateful that I'm grateful that I hurt myself. It does sound crazy, so that I could learn how to move with strength and grace. So that I'm super appreciative of. Well, guys, I want to end today's class with one of my absolute favorite quotes. This is from Mahatma Gandhi, and the quote says, "Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever. Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever." Isn't that beautiful? Like, if we set that intention every morning before we went about our day, can you imagine? And just kept that intention. Could you imagine how beautiful our lives may be? I don't know, maybe it would. From my perspective, I think that that's a beautiful way to live. So I want to thank you for practicing with me today, and I hope you liked the practice, and I hope that you are getting stronger. And although I love doing these videos here on YouTube, I cannot wait to see you in person. So namaste, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.